is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome to the discussion for Maracaibo, Alexander Pfister's latest game, and we just got done playing a two-player game, kind of in the campaign, or the story that is in here. Kat, what do you think of Maracaibo?
Oh, it's just okay.
You don't like it all that much?
I like it, but I don't think I would run down here if you were like, hey, we're going to play Maracaibo. I wouldn't be like hip checking the dogs to get them out of my way.
Right. Well, I don't know. So in comparison with his other games, Great Western Trail and Blackout Hong Kong, would you like
in the middle?
Okay.
I would say Hong Kong, Maracaibo, and then
Great Western Trail. Okay.
All I want to do is mosey along those cows and I won't sell them.
Yeah. So I absolutely love this game. It's right up my alley in terms of what I like out of Euro games. It's weird. There's not as much going on in this one as I feel like Great Western Trail has. Out of the three, I think that one is his heaviest one.
Yeah. Which is probably why I ranked them the way I did.
Right, and this one is I feel like it's easier to get into. What you can do is just it's sequential instead of being well, I have all this that I can do, but so I have to you don't have to plan your turns ahead, but it does have Great Western Trail vibes because you're following along basically a designated path.
Yeah,
you're going in a circle with your
little
ship.
Variation thrown in there.
Yeah, and with the movement, it's just I can move this many times, but as the game progresses and you get more assistants out or more cities come out, then it's okay, well, I'm going to, your turns are going to slow down.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like games where the players kind of dictate the pace because you don't have to do any of that. You could, honestly, just kind of just bull rush to the game to see if you can get to 7. But here, there's actually no penalty for doing that. Unlike Great Western Trail, where it's if you try and rush and you don't have any cows to sell, well, I have to go sell in Kansas City, which is going to be -6 points each time you do that. So Great Western Trail forces you to slow down. Here, it doesn't. It doesn't force you to slow down at all. But I think, which would be interesting to see how that would work out, I think it would still hurt you because you wouldn't be getting any money. People would still be buying their stuff. So you would just be ending the game early, which would just be stupid.
Right.
But I like that there's a lot of avenues to victory. There's the combat, where you can just slowly fight for whichever nation you feel like it, divide and conquer, and place them out on the map, and basically try and gain influence with them, and then it's a multiplier. I like that. I like that you can go on the exploration track, which is what both you and I focused on this past game, was trying to go there. And that's essentially a race, but you can take your time going through there and just gain more points or more money. Especially once you get towards the end, you're well, I'm just going to go one space at a time, because then it's 4, 6, 10, 16, and if you're still the first one there, that's 26 total points. Yeah. I like the quests. Those are a bunch of ways to get points. There's just a lot of paths to victory, I think.
There's a lot of variation, yeah.
And then the final, nail in the coffin are these prestige buildings, which are really kind of what you want to go for. Whenever they're slowly being revealed each round, it's just okay, that's going to be endgame scoring. That's going to be at least 20 points, which is a lot. So that's what I'm going to aim for. But they cost 20 coins, and 20 coins is a lot. For this game, even some of the regular cards you can buy are 20 coins.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I like this game. I like that it's slowly, each round you do better and better.
Hopefully.
But it is interesting because both the times that we've played, we've been neck and neck up until around 50. And then I honestly couldn't even tell you what happens because then for some reason I just take off.
It's a curse. It's the curse I live with.
Because around the 20s,
with the board game boy.
I'm the board game boy. You were actually ahead for a little bit.
Yeah.
But the only thing I can think of is you didn't do any of your admirals. like your admiral stuff.
I thought that didn't really matter that much.
I mean, it doesn't.
I also so I mean, don't say that.
That's 11 points.
I mean, number of quests for me to even gain points, I would have had to have 6.
Right, and you had 4. You had 4, but then so that's 4 points you would have gotten for that. But then you would have also gotten.
That's like way end game though. 6 quests, because I would have had to have tried to get them before you. Because you were really slamming quests at the beginning,
right?
So you were taking them from me, and that's only 4 points. Not to say I wasn't obviously trying.
Right. Well, it would have been 4.
My next one would have been influence in one nation. Would have been 9. I could have just focused Spain, but even then, wouldn't have gotten there.
But you could have, because if you got all the way to 9, then that's a 4 multiplier.
Not saying I could not have. I'm just saying I didn't go for that.
Yeah.
And then number of combat tokens.
Yeah, for some reason I went heavy on combat, even though I didn't need to.
I only did 1 combat.
But yeah, it's interesting, because the only way that the nations are going to gain influence anywhere is if you fight for them, until you open up the village action, which lets you just place one there, where your nation is at. That's kind of the way where it's like, okay, for the most part, everyone's going to be fighting. That's going to dictate how many, who's has the most influence, and then once people start getting village actions, and it's like, okay, I'm just going to go there, and then now a nation's there for free. I like the slow ship upgrade. That, I mean, most of the time, everyone's going to kind of have the same ones, but I think the order of which ones you do matter.
Yeah, that's going to dictate. Well, because obviously these are the heavy ones, these are the good ones, but you have to have a certain number of ones already cleared. Yeah. It's going to be different for each person, where it's like you wanted your card hand to be bigger at the beginning. I wanted to do more actions.
Right.
So I made sure to get that one off. And then after that, I was like, well, maybe I'll go for like the point ones, actually. Yeah. Because those are nice to have a boost. So it's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah, I very much, my favorite part of the whole game is actually the card play. Like, I like multi-use cards, and I like being like, okay, well, this one is an assistant that's actually, so now that's a special place for me to go, kind of like the buildings in Great Western Trail. That's like, okay, I get a special action if I go here. Same thing. So you get to go there, and most of the time, if you don't actually use them, then you just get 2 points.
Right.
But then some of them make cards cheaper, give you an extra boost on your exploration, or make quests even more important. If you like go hard on like the quest hunter, then you start doing quests, and it's like, okay, well, this one now I'm getting 5 points. For each quest that I complete.
I just went hard on the master builder.
Right? I mean, it made all your cards cheaper.
Right. I know. I wish I had more of the pioneers, because
yeah,
I like those too, though. The ones that you get to put your assistants out on the board, those are fun.
Those are nice, and they're easier to do.
Because if you're ever in like a stalemate and you don't know what to do, you're like, well, at least I have those people out.
Right.
Like, I'll be sure to go there.
Right. And there is a benefit.
And they came in clutch for me a few times, where I went to, I think, number 10, because I was like, I need 2 coins to get to 20 to get up onto one of those. So it comes in handy, instead of just being like, okay, I'll just burn through a few spaces.
I guess I'll go to a village and just do the 2 village actions for 2 coins. Or
just discard my whole fucking hand.
Your whole hand for 2. Yeah. It's interesting, because like you have those, and then they're also worth points, and then they're also the quests. Like, it's like, okay, for this quest I need two spy glasses, and sometimes you'll sit there and be like, oh man, do I really want to spend him, because I kind of want to build him. But it's like, okay, so you lose that, or it's so easy to upgrade like your ship, but you have to even get the benefit, you have to at least upgrade that spot twice. Unlike Great Western Trail, where it's just like, as you slowly get further and further on selling cows, then it's just like, boom, I immediately have that action. Yeah. So there's definitely some very heavy Great Western Trail vibes here.
Which came first?
Great Western Trail. Okay. Yeah, this came out, I think, last year in 2019.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
So if you like that game, I think you will heavily like this game. But this game, I feel like, is easier to play.
I would have showed us, I mean, obviously since it came out last, you couldn't. I would have showed this to us first.
Right.
And then
No, Blackout Hong Kong is way simpler.
Well, okay, yeah, well, I forgot about that one. But yeah, like, if you were to introduce, like, people to harder games, this is a really good, like, way to trickle it down for them. Like start off with Hong Kong, then throw in Maracaibo. I've played a few times, then throw in Great Western Trail because they are very.
And then throw in Great Western Trail with the expansion. Yeah, no, his games are so solid, but they're heavy, but they're not brain burning like a Vito Lasarda game, where it's like there's a lot to do in Alexander Pfister's games, but Vito's are like so heavily tied into everything, connects to everything, and it's just like, okay.
You get like the, what is it, the butterfly effect or the raindrop effect? The ripple effect.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, where it's just like, okay, so this happens, and
that
affects everything else. Yeah. But, yeah, this one's just, it's so good. Mm-hmm. I thoroughly enjoy it. Now, I tried doing this as a solo game. I don't like the solo game. I think it's actually kind of boring. Because honestly, all they do is you flip a card and then they, like, depending on the difficulty, it determines how fast they go around the board. And it's like, man, I don't really like that. Like, I don't like the race feel, you know, where it's just like, oh god, okay, oh no, they're moving 4. Okay, they're at 20 already, and it's like,
where it's like a natural player probably wouldn't move 4 immediately.
Right.
We made some big moves, but typically we were like, I only want to go to a
right, because most players want to kind of do the same thing. You're going to move 2 spaces because you get 2 actions, and it's like, okay, so I can kind of, you know, take my time and still feel like I'm doing stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the AI was just like, whoop, and I'm like, what the? It's like,
boy, that round was fun.
Yeah, and so I didn't like that. I think, man, I don't know where I'm sitting on this one compared to the other 3. This one also gets me to feel like it's like Euro Merchants and Marauders.
I see that, yeah.
There's no, I mean, the combat is so clean. Like, I very much like the combat in this game because there's no dice, there's no, man, I missed.
It's so clean, it's almost confusing at first because you're like,
wait, so what do I do?
So I need to do more than what you're saying to me, right?
Right, so you're just like, yeah, I'll fight, and you pick one, and then it just tells you how many pretty much points you get to spend.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, I can spend 2 of those 4 to gain an influence, or I have my own combat and my own people, so I'll spend those to make it 6, and then just spend 6 to replace this guy with an England and get the bonus. And then luckily what's really cool, what I really like, is that everything's a benefit. If I replace France's influence with England's, this doesn't go back onto the France thing, which would just suck for anyone who's trying to go heavy in France. It just gets removed from the game. Mm-hmm. And then you just gain one of these, and sometimes these combat things are beneficial. Maybe a prestige building will be like, hey, 2 points for every combat you have. Or your admiral thing was you needed at least 4 to do that. So I very much like that. I like the fact that we are mercenaries, and depending on who we decide to fight for is whoever can pay us more. Mm-hmm. And it's like all of this is just we're working together. But this game isn't perfect. I think there are a few weird negatives. Maybe not so much negatives, but it's like, in our experience, we've found that if someone's ahead, the end game scoring isn't going to fix that. Mm-hmm. There's no like, okay, oh, you snuck up, and it's like, boom, you actually end up getting like 30 points, which put you ahead of me. It was kind of like, okay, with these prestige buildings, both of us are on that. And by the end of the game, we're going to probably get the same amount of points, so that's a wash. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, you're Abby, you're the only one who did that. So you got like 12 points, but you actually got 20 points total because you made it to 8. Mm-hmm. So you got 20 points, but then like I got that, which got 12. So I guess you made a net of 8 points. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, actually the rules say this, is these start out with 1 prestige building, and then as the game, for each round, 1 gets revealed. And sometimes it actually says, hey, just have all 4 of them revealed for better planning. So you can kind of look at it and be like, okay, I know I'm going to want assistance. I know I'm going to want people. I know I'm going to want to go on the exploration track. So you can plan to do that ahead of time. And I think that would be fine. Like, gives everyone better planning instead of being like, wow, okay, I didn't know I needed to go on the exploration track to do that one. Mm-hmm.
I feel like that happened to me the first time we played, where you were like, you could have gotten up there for the prestige cards, and I was like, none of them helped me.
You had like, 2. You had like a flat 2 in everything.
Yeah,
that they were all 4.
I was like, I have just done okay in every genre.
Yeah.
And so none of these are helping.
And the last time we played, there was one where it's like my opening cards happened to be all about the synergy tokens, and the first one out there was like points for synergy. So I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna go for those.
Obviously, yeah.
And like all of these, I like the synergy tokens a lot as well. It's you don't spend these to get abilities. Like once you have the tool one, every card you play that needs that tool thing, or like the anchor with like the pioneer. So like the pioneer, if I had the anchor one, then it increases my income by 2. But I don't need 2 anchors for both my pioneers. Mm-hmm. 1 anchor works for both of those. Mm-hmm. So each round you just slowly just do better. And I really like that.
Yeah.
And the same way is with Great Western Trail. That one should also, each round you should be doing better until the end of the game. So everyone should be progressing. But like this one and with Great Western, if you kind of fuck up early on, you're kind of going to be playing catch up the whole time. And so that is the thing with this one. You have any negatives? You said it was okay.
I would just say, other than what you said, it's not that it's okay because of any negative like rules, anything that affected the game. It's just okay as in like, there's just other games I would rather play.
Sure.
Personally, Alex Pfister doesn't make games for me.
Yeah.
Which is fine. He makes them for people like you who love that in-depth planning and love thinking about, not the next steps essentially, because this one's a lot easier than doing that. But I don't have any like hard negatives.
Yeah, I remember throughout the game you mentioned, you were going first, so you get the benefit.
You can accidentally block me from places.
Right, which is actually still, funny enough, the same thing that Great Western does. Is if I get to Kansas City first, then that means I get to start my rounds first.
Yeah.
But it's a race. I mean, it's like, okay, well, it's like I'm moving 5 spaces, you're going 1, 1, 1, so it's like, well, I'm going to be ahead, but I'm going to make it to the end first.
Mm-hmm. Or like even if you just went to Puerto Plata every single time, and I never get to go to Puerto Plata,
right?
And have that ease, because I do remember in our first game you were going to somewhere similar, I feel like, and you were just like constantly getting to remove your discs, and I was like, how are you doing it so fast? And it's because I never got to land on those,
right?
So I never got to do that.
Well, that's the cool thing about the game is that Puerto Plata, that specific one, which is actually, I believe, always in the game.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, it's not always there, but just by happenstance, I think it was there both times we played. The reason why that one's so good is you get to deliver a good, and that ability also lets you take one off, so you can double up and immediately get an ability.
I know.
But nothing's stopping you from going there and just getting rid of one. Like, you don't have to sell a good to also be able to do the city action.
I see what you mean.
So it's just, it is good if you get there first, but nothing's stopping you from going there as well, and at least removing one.
Yeah.
So I like that. Mm-hmm. I like that there's a race to deliver goods, but also it's like, man, okay, yeah, you delivered there, but I could still go here and still get 6 coins and influence. Like, no one really blocks anyone from doing anything. What do you think of the story?
Stupid. It's another, and I don't want to dwell on it too much because we've said this before so many times. It's just another one of those games where they're like, oh, everyone's adding a campaign mode.
Yeah.
And it's just a weak story.
Here's the difference. This is a Euro game, which never has any story. So I like it for that. I like that he incorporated a campaign with a story, with a slight legacy element, where it's like, oh, we did that, so that means that Puerto Cabezas, they made a city, so that's a new spot that we can go. With all these legacy tiles that aren't actually stickers or anything, so you can play the campaign over and over. I think for people who are only Euro gamers, who are tired of trading in the Mediterranean again, the campaign and the story is like a breath of fresh air. It's like, oh my god, because I think Blackout Hong Kong had 4 campaign games. Great Western Trail didn't have any. So he is doing that. And I like it. It's not the most exciting story, and it's kind of like it seems very fast-paced. Like, the very beginning is like, there's a mysterious plague. Oh, okay, alright, that's kind of interesting. And then you immediately find the doctor, and then he's just like, hey, I have debt. And you're like, what?
Some
like,
guy's
so you,
gonna cripple me if
but
we
you,
don't.
right? But you do get a choice. Like, it does have some choices where it's like, okay, we can deal with your loan sharks, or we can focus on the plague.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm assuming you just don't get his card if you don't go.
Pretty much.
The debt. Yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, he's just like, okay, thank you for selling my debt. And it's like the easiest quest to do. It's like 2 coins. It's like, that's it, dude. But then he's like, all right, like I found a cure. Pirates attack, and it's like, okay, I guess these pirates are here. But it's actually pretty interesting because like it's broken up into chapters, but like each game isn't one chapter.
How it typically is.
Yeah. So it's like we're already in chapter 2, which I guess technically kind of kickstarted, like was at the end of the game because you only ever do those cards at the end of a round.
Yeah.
So then it's like for chapter 2, like if you did that, which we actually didn't do, so our next game would be chapter 2. It's pretty nice. Like they have a total of 11 chapters, I think. Oh well, actually they have. I don't know what they have. I think they have 11 chapters. Yeah, here we go. Now I'm starting to see. So, I think it's neat, but I definitely wasn't going to do this as a series because it's like the game doesn't progress that much
right.
for it to warrant like a series for the game.
Read the story cards.
Pretty much. But yeah, I really like this game. But I think I'm on the reverse, man. I don't know which one I like better between this one and Great Western Trail. I think...
I like this one.
Yeah. This one is cleaner. I might think I like this one better. Yeah. I think... I don't know. Both of them are just really good. And Great Western Trail also has the expansion, which is nice.
Well, this just came out.
Came out last year. Where's the expansion already?
A lot of production has been halted.
That is true. This one was it took me a while to get. I don't know. I don't like. It's a Western theme versus pirates. Mm-hmm. I'm not too keen on either. Like where I'm like, wow,
wow.
Yeah, I think I might like this one better slightly, but I don't know. And then Black Hong Kong is still really good, but it's his simplest. Mm-hmm. So, scale of 1 to 10, Kat?
I think I've swayed myself a little bit. I'll give it a 7.
7?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I am. You were gonna give this 6 earlier.
I was gonna give it a 4. No.
Oh, but no. Oh God.
Yeah, probably like a 6 or something.
Yeah. I am going to give it a 9. Yeah.
That's fair.
I can't remember if I gave Great Western Trail a 10.
Yeah, I don't remember. I try not to remember that game. It hurt me.
It just these games just click, like,
which is good.
Basically, so whatever I've given Great Western Trail, I'm also going to give this. I like them equal.
There we go.
I can't. They both. This is very much like Great Western Trail though, but it does have its differences. So you can own both. Mm-hmm. But if you had to pick one, basically decide Western like Western or Pirates. But this one does have a story. So
that can help.
That is there. It does give you...
If not just for changing the map just a little bit.
Yeah, but even then, the changing the map is kind of neat. And hey, that's another city we can go to. So if Great Western Trail's a 10, this one's also a 10.
Is this.
But yeah.
Perfect.
So those are our thoughts on Maracaibo. Let us know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.